Hello everyone, and welcome to another banner review where we are going to be taking a look at the CG Fire Veritas, because I still haven't learned his name quite yet. How very rude of me, but anyway, let's start talking about it. And we're going to start with our base 3-star, because honestly, I was kind of very interested in this, being that he was only a 3-star and he had kind of a cool sounding trust mastery until I saw the details about it. Now I'm not so hyped anymore. Anyway, first of all, a 3 to 5-star. Nothing about him really stands out much. He has Berserk in his limit burst, which is okay. Does that mean we're gonna get something that cures? Ooh, ding! Supper's ready. Does that mean we're gonna see some, limit burst or berserk curing in the future? Probably not. The other only interesting thing is he does have an ability to give any unit, some extra damage versus machines, both magical or physical. But other than that, not really interesting unit. And now his Trust Mastery was the thing I was really interested in, which is a materia that gives 20% attack, but more importantly gives limit burst up damage. And this could have been really, really interesting, but it turns out it's only 1.1, and I get that a super Trust Mastery like Squall's 1.55, this definitely doesn't feel that great for any reason whatsoever. So, maybe it might be good sometime down the future, but for now it's less exciting than I thought it was going to be. And next up is, whoops, that's the wrong thing for me to pull up, is PNK-2. And this guy, you might as well just call this guy the new jackass in Arena. If someone was going to bring a 4-star to Arena to annoy people, this is the one, because his limit burst also has the ability to, well, it has some physical damage to it, but this guy's kit is basically, hey, how many status effects can we put on a character? He has options to AoE hit and give AoE 30% chance stop for 3 turns. He can also do some status effects. He's not better than Noctis at doing that. Noctis is 7-star Noctis reigns supreme at that, but this guy still could be pretty annoying. For anyone who wants to start Arena and wants to be annoying, this is probably your guy. Other than that, his Trust Mastery is an accessory with 35 attack, 35 magic, and gains a limit burst crystal per turn. The limit burst gain is fine. I think this is actually a fairly good accessory for any attack magic hybrid. Which is not our 5-star this month, so this is definitely one where, hey, I'd be happy to get a couple of him, get his TMR, and possibly never use him again because Arena is bad enough already. And next up is Sezamu, or, I don't know, what did they, or Suzumi, sorry. Suzumi, which is basically Sparrow. I got it totally wrong there, but anyway. So, is there anything interesting in this guy's kit? Well, his limit burst does have an 89% chance maxed out to OHKO, so another Arena scummer. Great. He also has some counters in his kit and an increased chance of counters. He has some physical hitting attacks, some critical skills that, if they hit, they can hit criticals. But nothing about this guy is super exciting other than that. Basically, the 2 4-stars are, hey, god damn it, more annoying things in Arena, but as 4-star bases, they really can't last in Arena, so other than that, nothing really interesting. And now we come to the king of this banner, the only interesting unit, really, and I gotta say, this guy ended up being pretty darn interesting. Whether or not I think he's worth spending a ton of resources is a different conversation altogether. And by that, so we're going to also show him off, since, with any of the CG units, they always give us this nice little way to demo them. So first of all, his Trust Mastery actually ended up being really great, but probably only really great for himself. It's a materia with 30% attack when equipped with an axe, so yeah, there's your big limiting factor right there, is the fact that are many axe users. Other than that, 50% limit burst fill rate, which is really nice if you had a unit who's pretty good at a limit burst, like this guy, and 25% accuracy and 50% equip attack when true dual handing. So true dual hand bonus, extra attack, really nice on a limit burst, on a materia, especially for this guy. I think this materia is tailor-made for this guy. As for anyone else, probably not. I don't think you could ever use this unless you had, you could put an axe on that unit. Speaking of axes, though, this guy's axe is hell, it's a lot more decent than anything. This is a true dual hand axe, 170 attack, with, more importantly, 50% accuracy, the fire element, and a 1.1 to 1.9 times variance, which is huge. If anything, even a low stat attack item like fixed dice on a unit like Randy proved to be incredibly powerful as a true dual hand combo. This with a 1.9 times variance on 170 attack fire element axe is just amazing. This is actually really amazing. If you were going to go on this guy, I would definitely want, this axe for him, and enhance it too, because this guy's base attack is 205 with an extra 65 points, meaning that he can rival Faye, but he has the true dual hand equipment in his own element. So just a really strong combo. This guy will be able to pretty easily hit 2650, possibly even without too many super TMRs, or any super TMRs. And speaking of which, this guy's equipment range is really big too, so you have lots of options. You have bows, katanas, greatswords, hammers, axes, spears. Of course, to get his own TMR, you probably are just going to want to equip him with axes, but still, he has a lot of options for what he can equip, which is pretty cool. And so now we come to the limit burst, and I gotta say the limit burst is really, really interesting because it has holy explosion frames, which holy explosion frames are super valuable if you don't know, and his limit burst hits really strong, even at 1100 attack. It hits for 6 little hits at maxed out 345%, and 1 final hit at 790%. That is all ignoring, or at least, I'm not sure if it all ignores, but I think it does, ignores 50% defense. So, very strong limit burst, and can potentially chain with a unit like Jet. So, it's interesting. But in general, in his kit, I'm actually feel like maybe he really doesn't have that much attack. And the real question here is, how valuable is this guy? Well, equipping his own TMR does give him triple cast in the first turn, and his triple cast is really, really, really interesting because it has a wide range of things it can use, including his buffing abilities, his cooldown, and as well his actual attacks. And that's really cool because some of his support abilities, I criticized this guy early on because I said, well, hold on a second. What's so good about Chain Finisher? Because a Chain Finisher really doesn't have a spot in the party unless he can do something else. And yeah, he can debuff the fire element, but what's so cool about this guy is that he actually has some pretty good support as a buffer. What's more, his support abilities don't actually take that much from him. First of all, his Arms Forge fire attack is only 45 MP, and it uses 5 Limit Burst Crystals, which 5 Limit Burst Crystals isn't that much, considering that he also gains Limit Burst Crystals per turn, and his Limit Burst is pretty quick to charge. But in AoE 120%, attack and magic, and a 50% chance to AoE add fire to attacks, there's another unit, another CG unit that would benefit greatly from fire attacks. Who is it again? Ah yes, CG Hayu. I think that this guy with 2 CG Hayus limit bursting could be enough to do some OTK combos, because that is incredibly strong. But 5 turn either buffs to attack and magic or defense and spirit which also get fire resistance, you know, for 5 turns is pretty good because, yes, there are characters like Ignis and, you know, other units that can give big AoE boosts, but sometimes have drawbacks like cooldown. These abilities can be used multiple times, so all of that is really, really good. But the other ability I like is this ability, which is called Challenge Seeking Warrior. This ability is just freaking cool. Basically, makes him a 100% chance to be targeted and gives himself a 250% attack boost. This would be really cool if you could put a counter on this guy. If this guy could get counters for, you know, essentially provoking enemies, that would be amazing. It would also be amazing if he had some kind of ability that could, you know, stop him from maybe getting killed, but you know, whatever. Anyway, a 250% buff on this guy is the same to me almost as Faye, where it's a very, very strong move to do, especially on your opening turn. And in general, he just has a really strong start to fights because of triple cast. So here, the ability that we are looking at is Masterpiece Forge, which is available turn 1 on 4-turn cooldown, 3-turn 200% limit burst fill rate, AoE, and an AoE fill 10 limit burst crystals, which is just feels nice. I liked Eileen back, and I still like Eileen because she has a limit burst fill in her 7th star. 10 limit burst crystals is pretty good. It can be an enabling action for a lot of other units. So I gotta say, I really, really like that. But in general, he just has some really strong attacks that he could open a fight with, just hitting the enemy pretty damn strong. I think this guy would also be really good for clearing Shiva, since essentially this guy built up would be insane. He also has a really cool sprite and a cool limit burst animation, as we all know. Oh, you know, cool CG limit burst, just buy him. So, the long and short of it, let's just talk about whether I think this is worth going for or not. First of all, I would say that he is very strong. There's no doubt in my mind that he is a very strong unit. Is he worth spending a ton on? Probably not. You could UOC him if you really, really wanted. The step-up banners, of course, are always a good chance to get your hands on the unit because, you know, the increased rates. If you were looking for a finisher or potentially doing some OT combos, and you're definitely not switching up to Jet, you're going to continue with CG Hayu, which I think is perfectly reasonable considering that CG Hayu's limit burst is so strong. This guy does have a place on the team because he can buff the party, he can debuff the enemy for fire resistance, and that works, and he can give the fire element AoE, although it's, you know, a % chance, but that's still pretty good. If 2 CG Hayus, you know, Phantom Blade debuff the enemy for fire resistance, then get the fire element and then chain it into that insane limit burst, CG Hayu's big problem has always been, where do you get that element from, especially if you didn't get Arngrim last month? And that's the other thing. Who does this guy feel like? Feels kind of like an upgraded Arngrim. And Arngrim was cool, but this guy is just in generally considerably stronger than what Arngrim could do. So, honestly, and I've said honestly way too many times, I'd say that it's a pretty solid banner. It's definitely not the best. One thing that is to be considered is the fact that any pulls on this will give you Trust Moogle. So if you've been saving up a ton of 4-star, this is a good time to dump, because a lot of the times you just get a 10% Trust Moogle that's available for all, which can help you get a lot of other TMRs, and who knows? Maybe you'll strike it lucky twice. Maybe you'll get that rainbow and be able to get a CG Fire Veritas. It's definitely something that could happen, and I would say that the ticket use of the 4 stars, this is always the best time to just use 4-star tickets. So between just having 2 solid, you know, TMRs, oh, I forgot to talk about Suzume's TMR, you know, that 20% boost of attack with a katana, really good for Sephiroth, really great for Auron, both which are super powerful units in the meta. So I would say that the 4 stars are very interesting, worth going for, and if you get the 5-star, there's nothing wrong with that. But I wouldn't go all out for him. Probably next month we're going to see Axstar. So thank you very much for watching. Hope I helped you out make a decision here. And if not, well, you got plenty of time and we'll probably have the raid announced before this banner disappears. So cheers, best of luck. Hopefully you get some rainbows. See you next time.